miss it. When we draw our hand, we want to put our hand in a position that is relaxing. And maybe I'll draw with a pen so that it shows up a little better. I really apologize. I usually have it up on the big screen. So if you can't see, there is a little computer screen here that you can look at. But if I draw it in pen, hopefully, yeah, that's quite a bit darker. Okay, so you're going to get your hand in a position that's comfortable, that you can hold there for quite a while. And I'm going to make, yeah, this is my first time using this one because my projector bulb's out. So we're going to start, I usually like to start at my wrist and work my way up this line of my hand here. Again, if I mess up on this projector and you can't see what I'm doing, please don't hesitate to let me know. So now I'm right here and I see that this finger intersects this part of my hand. So I'm going to look and compare the distance, and I'm going to start my other finger that I can see goes above that first finger. And I'm going to look most of the time at my hands. I'm going to be okay with if I mess up. But one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to compare distances. So that's the first thing I want you guys to learn to think about, is where does one thing intersect another? If I feel like I've messed up and something's wrong, I'm just going to make it a shadow, okay? And keep working on it, because I obviously can't erase, but I'd like you guys to get as not dependent on your erasers as possible. Now this finger continues here underneath that first one. So I'm going to just go ahead, and it actually comes out a little bit further than this one. Hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing here. And then I can see, I want to look at the negative space here, which is the space in between my two fingers. You guys see that? Makes kind of a triangle. So I'm going to examine that triangular space and start that third finger that I see. I'm going to ask myself, does it come out past the others? It's about the same. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to look down and see the space between those last two fingers. And I'm going to put in, and it's kind of a rectangle now, the space between. And I'm going to go ahead and put that finger in. Okay, thanks for paying attention so well. And then I'm going to keep looking. Hands are really odd looking when you actually kind of take the time to study them. But I look at my thumb, and my thumb actually comes out past the other fingers. So using a tool like your pen to see like where things actually start and stop is great. I can also see it's about the same distance out as the second and third finger. So I'm going to try and get that angle right. And get the thumb drawn there, even if it doesn't look quite right now. Remember, I can always come back in. My goal here is not perfection. I always think if I do have a really bad drawing day, at least it shows you guys that I do. Now, when I come here, I'm not going to put like a bubble on the end of my hand because that's not what is happening. What's actually happening is I've got like a sweater that kind of comes down here. Now, let's talk about fingernails for a minute, okay? Our symbol for fingernails is something like this if we have our hand, okay? Is that what fingernails actually look like? No. Nope. Okay? There's usually a lot of skin that surrounds a fingernail on either side. So when I look at my thumbnail, I see that like about half of my thumb there is the flesh, and half of it maybe or more is the nail. So I'm going to try and get that area correct. There's a little white area on top, and then the rest is kind of shaded in. Okay? Again, I've got kind of I'm going to probably make some shadow around this so it doesn't look quite as bad. Now, I can see a teeny bit of my fingernail on the top of this finger here. So I could try and put that in if I wanted to. Maybe a little bit over here. But don't draw it if you don't see it, is one of the kind of key things to remember when you're drawing. Okay? Now, I obviously have some mistakes here, so I can go back and work on those. But while I'm working on those, I'm going to look at the areas that are darker or lighter. And I might just add a little bit of shading to the areas that need it. Maybe not a lot. Now there are some lines, but again, don't go crazy. Lines are going to go, they're going to be kind of curved to the shape of your fingers. And they're not going to go all the way across. So go ahead and be real careful when you do those. Again, it's really interesting for me to look at this on the projector because I really can see kind of what is working and what isn't. But I will try not to make this any more drawn out. But I want you guys to practice looking most of the time at what you're drawing and most of the time at what's on the paper. So, any questions? Yes?
Is it okay if, like, just in case we need our other hand, to, like, take a picture?
I don't like you guys working from pictures. I would